Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to Wild Werewolf. Are you ready to embark on a wild and thrilling journey into the world of werewolves? Here, we'll explore the untamed nature, the raw power, and the captivating stories of these mythical creatures. So, get comfortable and let's unleash the wildness together. Chapter 26, Desire Night Fever. Rosalind, what? Emmett shouted at me. He was gobsmacked. Yes, Sam went to the falls. Found us with the warrior. We tried to tell her the truth. It ended up so ridiculous. We then told her another truth. Then we spent an hour talking. It was awesome. I boasted. How did you not text to tell me? Emmett wind. How were we supposed to text you from the falls? Plus, we were having so much fun we even forgot that you existed. I snickered. Emmett cursed. Emmett, don't call your sister a bitch. Daddy reprimanded him. But you call your sister bitch all the time. He rebuked. Yes, but it has a different meaning when I say it. Daddy retorted. Why, because you're gay? He questioned, looking pissed. No, because I don't use it as an offensive term. And that's final. Daddy shouted. There was a brief silence after that. Then, so nephew, did you have fun? Dad asked John. I did. Uncle. It was the best. Sam's hilarious. She told us some stories about when she started transitioning. I like her. John told him with a smile. Traitor. Emmett mumbled. He sounded and looked angry. I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you. We're caught off guard. By the time we felt comfortable, I didn't think to grab my phone. We completely lost track of time. John explained in an apologetic tone. We were having dinner after we got back from the falls. As soon as I told my brother that his mate was there with us, he flipped off. I felt bad for him. But when were we supposed to text him? We're too busy having fun ourselves. First, we tried to say that the warrior was there to protect Rosalind from wolves. You should have seen her face when we said that. We might as well have said unicorns. She didn't believe us at all. Joan laughed as he talked. He had the most adorable laughter. No, but the best part was when she asked, how is he going to defend us from the wolves if he's not even armed? I cracked up. I laughed so hard remembering it. So, if she didn't believe you about the wolves, how did you convince her about the warrior? Daddy asked us. Curious. We told her the truth. We had unmated sex. Our parents found out and Dad hired a chaperone for me. I answered, looking at Daddy. I mean, we didn't say unmated. Obviously. John noted, awkwardly. Great. That means the chaperone is working. And he'll continue working until either one of you are mated. Daddy snickered. He then raised a glass to us. I can't believe I could have spent an hour with my mate and I missed it. Wind. You should get out more. Brother. Enjoy your life. It's the weekend. You should be out with your mate. I told him. Thanks. Sister. I would if I could. He glared daggers at me. So, what you crazy kids are up to this Saturday night? You know, if you take the warrior at night, I have to pay extra. Dad smirked. He's right. Actually, Uncle Tony chimed in. He was the pack's accountant. I know. Uncle. I'm not gonna leave the compound at night. Where would we go? We're just gonna enjoy our night quietly. Like old people. I snickered. Who are you calling old? I'm taking my husband too. We don't care. And Denise. Good for you. Enjoy your hard-earned freedom. Some of us can't take anyone anywhere alone. I barked. She did not look happy. That's not true. Rosalind. Dad interjected. John and I gasped. You are free to take whoever you want to wherever you like. Just not the. He smirked. Thanks. Father. Your dad's jokes keep getting better each time. I snickered. After dinner, John and I took a walk inside the compound. I mean, we can leave, but we didn't need to stay inside the house either, so. He started as we walked. Now that you're not ascending, what are you gonna do with your life? He questioned me. Good question. If I'm honest, I'd like to follow Uncle Damon's lead and go to college. Get a job outside the compound. I think I want to separate myself from the pack as much as I can. I answered him, pensive. That's a good plan. The least you're involved, the better. Right. He spoke. Right. Absolutely. That's the plan. I replied with conviction. Good for you. I think I plan on doing the same. I mean, if I don't become a warrior, I'd be good at that too. He pondered. You would. You already killed a rogue. And you're only 15. I complimented him. Don't remind me. But I only killed it because of you. I'd do anything for you, he said, looking in my eyes so passionately. Oh, fuck. I kissed him hungrily. We make out intensely at an empty space at the back of the house. We go at it for a good time. I can see my eyes filling with lust. And so does his. It's intoxicating. I have to separate myself from him just so I recover my senses. Holy fuck. That's intense. I gasped. Tell me about it. I forgot how intense they were. He stuttered. Me too. I mean, I was about to pin you to the ground and I trailed off. Got it. I think maybe we should call it night. I'll walk you to your house. He offered. I am at my house. Just the back of it. It's okay. You can go. I stated. Okay, see you tomorrow. He asked. Perfect. See you tomorrow. I confirmed. We can't even kiss goodbyes, we just wave each other off. After he started going away, I walk back to my house and go to bed. I can easily understand why we can't be left alone. Damn. I forgot how intense our desire for each other was. And it fucking Rosalind. Not only she spent an hour with my mate, I was forced to hear the stories they shared together. Just because she doesn't have a mate doesn't mean she gets to hijack mine. Yes, I am being unreasonable. I don't care. I want my mate by my side. Not hers. Or John's for that matter. I took the car and drove downtown to cool off. I mean, there wasn't much going on apart from a few bars and dinners, but at least it's better than being alone at the pack house. Of course, I didn't go to bars, I'm only 17. So I went to the dinner and grabbed a milkshake. I sat at one of the tables and commiserated. I thought about how she must have looked. She must have sounded. How fun it was to see the waterfalls for the first time. I wish I could have shown her. I would have loved to. I was so lost in thought that it wasn't till I sensed the most amazing scent there is on earth. You're the third fruit I see today. Are you people following me? Sam snickered. She came from the balcony and had placed an order. Then, she sat in front of me at the table I was. If the stories are to be believed, I'm pretty sure you arrived after us to the places. So you are following us. Creepy. I joked, smiling. It's true, I admit, but it's not like there are that many places to visit around here. She smirked. Right you are. And what brings you here at this Saturday evening? I mean, apart from the delicious food. I croaked. Just a night snack. I'm not so much a stay-at-home kinda girl. I like to see people. Which is why it's so disappointing that you are here. Where all the interesting people are the farm animals. I snickered. Pretty much. She laughed. It was the most beautiful laughter I've ever seen. And what a strapping young man like you are doing on a Saturday night alone. She asked as she patted me in the arm. I was jealous of my sister and decided to stroll around town in the off chance you'd appear. I blurted. Back, Spidey. My faded mate. White splashed around me and I wind spun with the beat of the heavy techno music the DJ was playing. She asked. Spooked. I didn't want to stay home watching my sister and cousin suck face. So I left. I asserted. You're not a fan of theirs. She smirked. Not in the slightest. I replied in a somber tone. I wasn't. But that's not the reason I left. Not at all. But why aren't you in a date yourself? Why are you alone in the first place? A hot guy like you. She questioned me. I was flattered she said I'm hot. That's a good start. Thanks. But there's only one girl on my mind. And she doesn't like me. I replied in a doom and gloom tone. How do you know she doesn't like you? Have you asked her? She questioned me. Quizzically. Oh no. I could never ask her. I'd be devastated if she said no. I confessed. Shyly. But how will you know if you don't ask her? She insisted. I guess that's true, but it's too soon to ask. Maybe if I could take her on a date. I wondered. That's a good strategy. But you still need to ask her. Am I right? She croaked. Of course. Your order's up. I told her. She goes pick it up. Do you want some? She offered me. Once she returned with the food. No, thanks. I had dinner not long ago. Enjoy. I smiled at her. So, this girl you like, is she pretty? She asked me in between bites. Yes, she is. Also, she has the prettiest smile I've ever seen. I admired wow. She must be some girl if you're talking about her smile instead of. She trailed off. I'm not that kinda guy. I'm more interested in what's underneath. I told her, slightly embarrassed. You really? I didn't get that vibe. She replied while she continued dating. I know. Right. I must look like a shallow jock. But appearances can be deceiving. I stated. Apparently so. Anyway, what else about her do you like? She sounded interested, which is so ironic. I like that she's smart, confident, don't take any crap from anyone. She really knows how to make a presence. You know, I spoke as if I'm enchanted, which I am. She sounds very impressive. And how long have you known this girl? She asked me, looking more and more interested. I can't tell you that. I replied, sheepishly. Why not? She asked me, curiously. Because you're not gonna like the answer. I blurted. What do I have anything to do with it? She questioned me, puzzled. Everything, I said, looking deep in her eyes. And then she realizes it. She looked very spooked all of the sudden. You've known me for like a week. She snorted. And it's been the best week of my life so far. I confessed, grinning. Is this a prank? Is this some sort of prank on the trans girl? She looked pissed. Of course. Not. I would never joke about my feelings. I admitted, louder than I cared for. What feelings? You can't have feelings for someone you've barely met. She spat at me. Livid. The heart wants what it wants. Who am I to say otherwise? I pondered, trying to be romantic. That didn't fly. Well, my heart is telling me it's time to say goodbye. See you later. She stood up and left, but not before paying. Of course. My heart sank. I had to fight back tears. Chapter 27, These Dreams. Sam, is this okay? He asked me as he positioned his hand on my leg. Yes, it is. I replied, grinning. Can I kiss you? He asked me, looking in my eyes. Yes, please. I couldn't resist it. We started kissing passionately. He moves his hands up and I stop it. I'm sorry. He apologized. It's okay. You just can't touch me over there. I understand now. I won't. He told me, confidently. We continued kissing. He kisses my neck, sticks his tongue in my ear. I got flustered. Are you okay? He asked me, concerned. Yes, I am. We resumed kissing for a good while. Eventually, we moved to the bed where I feel him up and down. And so does he. Is this okay? He asked me. Yes, it is. I'll tell you when it isn't. He kissed me slowly, enjoying every spot of my body he touched with his lips, and having the time of my life. I love you, Sam, he said with a lustful voice. I love you too. There's a knock on the door. My mom is telling me to come have breakfast. What the fuck did I just dream of? I wake up panting. I'm sweating. I dreamed I was making out with Sam. We fooled around and I told her I loved her. And so did she. I mean, what a dream. Thank you, Doris. Especially after that disaster last night. I can't believe I listened to your advice. Little sister, I complained. We are having breakfast at the dining hall. What advice? She asked, quizzically. That I should get out more. Because of you, I got out last night and ran into my mate. I spoke, angrily. Wait. That's my fated mate. What flashed around me and my wind spun with the beat of the heavy techno music the DJ was playing. You met Sam. Then why are you mad? You should be thanking me. She snickered. I would. Except I opened my big mouth and told her I liked her. She bolted from the table so fast she barely stopped to pay the bill. I blurted. What? Dad's gasped. You've told her you liked her after a week. Are you insane? Rosalind spat at me. I am. For listening to you. I snickered. It's not my fault you wasted a good date. She rebuked. Son, you can't tell someone you just met you like them. Dad lectured me. I know, Dad. I was just in awe of her and I blurted it out. I admitted, shyly. Oh, fuck. Daddy gasped. Hey, at least it's out there. Now, she knows, John said as he came to the dining hall. He didn't eat anything. Just sat with us. Yeah, she knows she needs to get away from him fast. Expect a restraining order. Rosalind snickered, which only made me feel worse. I can't believe I lost her without having a chance to get her. I sighed. I nearly cried. You didn't lose her, son. If she's your mate, she can't be lost. But you do need to fix this. Dad stated. Should I go to her house? I wondered. Though I don't know where she lives. No, Rosalind. John. Dad and Daddy shouted at the same time. It startled everyone at the table. You want to go to the chief of police's house. Are you out of your mind? Rosalind yelled at me. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. I despaired. Now I'm crying. I stopped eating. Son, you played your hand. Now you must wait for her to come to you. Daddy said in a concerned tone. But what if she never does? I asked him, deeply worried. That's a risk you have to take. But you cannot, under any circumstances, approach her again. Last thing you need is to prove her right. She needs to know that your sentiments are true, and that you're not a stalker. Daddy spoke in a dead serious tone. What Daddy said. Rosalind spoke, raising a finger to point at him. You know, when Daddy got attacked by your robe, John's mom didn't talk to Nate for almost a week. She was so distraught. I mean, I was too. But my point is, they were already mated by then. Dad, it doesn't count. But I appreciate your attempt to make me feel better. I interrupted him. I think she's great. Yeah, man, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Don't worry about it. If my dad could overcome a near assault on my mom, you can overcome this. John consoled me. Thanks. Cousin, I appreciate it. You're such an Underwood. I croaked. I smiled a bit. He wasn't going to assault her. It's just that when you find your mate, everything in you tells you to be near them. Send them. That's what he wanted. To be close to her. Dad lectured. I know. Uncle, it's just a figure of speech. We're not cavalmen to bang the woman in the head and take her to our cave. John snickered. Bitch, you can try. I'll have you immobilized faster than you can yell help. Rosalind smirked. I believe you. John croaked. Shyly. Sayamem. Remember, no matter what you see or hear, let her come to you. Daddy spoke with conviction. I nodded along. I mean, unless she's being assaulted. Then and only then you can intervene. He continued. Daddy. Rosalind screamed. I grimaced. What? He dreamed about it. I don't want it to happen. But who knows? He said in a scared tone. He's not wrong. I did dreamed about it. But I hope it's just a cautionary tale. Because I don't know what I'd do if I see her in peril. After breakfast, my day was spent exercising to try taking her out of my mind. But no such luck. Then, I asked Paul to come over so we could talk. He came right after lunch and got spooked when I told him about my night. We talked for hours and played video games. At least it was good fun. Goddess knows I needed it to face her tomorrow. Or better yet, not to face her, which is gonna be heartbreaking. Rosal and I had a good day with my unmade table. Excuse me, boyfriend. After last night's deep makeout session, we kept it light for the day. It's great when both of us are in sync. I mean, not that I don't want to sleep with him again, but there's literally no place for us. We can't leave the compound alone together without a warrior escort. We can't be alone at his house. We can't go to my room. So, we make the most of it. If Dad had his way, we wouldn't be together at all. That would be the worst. So we kissed occasionally, took a walk inside the compound with our hands intertwined. I even went to his house and saw Aunt Daphne and Uncle Nate. I ended up having lunch with them and Matt, their youngest. It was nice. We also stayed at his couch afterwards, watching films. It was a good day all around and a nice clean fun for a Sunday. Especially cause we had to say goodbye to each other earlier as tomorrow would be a school day. Student's life. Plus, I love his parents. Uncle Nate was the biggest sweetheart. And Aunt Daphne was basically my de facto mom. So, that's always a good combination. It's funny, neither of John's parents are related to me by blood, thank goddess. But they are the ones I feel the closest to. Apart from my dad's. Of course. The crowd is cheering me on, clapping for me. Dad called me and John to take our positions at the podium, which we did. We stand in front of each other and pledge. I, Rosalind Ford Huntington, accept you, John Ford Underwood, as my maiden, my Luna. I, John Ford Underwood, accept you, Rosalind Ford Huntington, as my maiden, my Alpha. We hugged and kissed each other. The crowd cheer grows stronger. My heart feels full. This is the happiest I've ever been in my life. Rosalind, wake up. It's time for. John wakes me. But as soon as I'm awake, I'm inconsolable. I started crying. Loudly. I could barely breathe. John didn't know what to do. His parents came to my side. And Daphne held me and asked me what's wrong. But I just cried. I couldn't stop. I couldn't. So they just stood close to me. Uncle Nate got me a glass of water, but I could barely hold it in my hands. I was shaking like a leaf. All of them were spooked. No more than John, who looked so sad for me. After almost half an hour, I took the water and explained to them my dream. They all baffled, but no more than John. I told them I didn't know why I was being tortured like this by the goddess instead of dreaming about my actual mate. But they told me this wasn't our work. It was probably my own brain trying to make sense of our situation. Like Daddy said, some sort of fugue state. It's creating an alternate reality that only hurt me more than my own. After that, I left their house as I was already late for dinner. I could barely say goodbye to John, who looked crushed. When I got to the pack house, I went straight to the dining hall. Everyone is already eating dinner, so I take my seat quietly. But not before. You're late. You're late. Young lady. Dad chastised me. I know. I'm sorry. I was at John's house. Fell asleep and had a bad dream. I explained. Wait. Have you been crying? Daddy asked and immediately darted in my direction and held me close. He kissed me tenderly, then let me go. I so loved him deeply. I'm sorry. Rosalind. What happened? Did you have another nightmare? Dad asked. I did. Sort of. I dreamed. I told them about my dream and they gasped. But Emmett was more shocked than all of them. The entire table was shocked and stared at me. Well, at least your dreams correlate to one another. I mean, you've already ascended, mated, had a baby. There was only one piece of the puzzle left. Daddy stated, after he returned to his seat. Dad was just gobsmacked. I know, Daddy, but I wished I didn't dream it at all. Has it ever occurred? I wondered in a deeply saddened tone. No, I checked. It has never happened in the history of the pack, nor it's happened in the history of any other pack. For that matter, I asked around. Daddy informed me. I loved how we're so connected that I don't even need to finish a sentence. He's smarter than he looked. I'm sorry. Dad told me in a deep, somber tone. I'm sorry, too. Rosalind. I know I give you a hard time. But this is just cruel and unusual punishment. EMM spoke, reaching out his hand to touch mine. I looked up at him and he looked concerned for me. Thanks. Dad, thanks. I appreciate it. I told them, trying for a smile. If I had the worst plight of any Huntington in the last 120 years, at least I had my family with me. And deep down, it's all that we can ask for. Someone to be there for you when you need it. And no one does that better than your own family, even if it's your chosen one. But these fucking dreams will be the death of me. Chapter 28, I knew you were trouble, nothing else matters, Sam. After that weird dream yesterday, I tried to put it out of my mind as I've spent the day with my family. But that's easier said than done, especially after that freak call but declared himself to me. I mean, who does that? After knowing each other for a week. A week. Does he have some sort of fetish? Or maybe he's one of those closet types. You know, who can't assume his gay identity and date a girl like me so to try to pass as straight? I mean, let's be honest. I'm not exactly the straight boy dream girl. Not yet. Anyway, it was hell to convince my small-town parents to respect my gender identity. It was even more hell to get them to buy me the appropriate clothes and makeup. But I hadn't started hormone therapy yet. I tried, but there's no convincing them. So I had to wait until I was 18 to do it legally. But I tried my best to present myself as the strong girl that I am. And I am confident in my femininity. I'm just not stupid. There's no way that straight out of a cover of a teen magazine. Handsome, straight boy likes me for me. Come on. I stopped believing in fairy tales when I realized I didn't look like the princesses. Max Spidey, my fated mate. Lights flashed around me and my one spun with the heavy techno music the DJ was playing. I go about my day when I arrived at school. I see the same wide smile looking at me, but I pass it right by. I don't give him the time of day. At all. I had lunch alone, though I saw him stealing glances of me from his table. Tuesday, I do the same. I knew I had to face B.E., so I did the same thing I did last week to create the courage to face the showers. I mean, eventually they have to stop teasing me about it. However, I couldn't keep myself from stealing a glance at him. I mean, I'm only human. It's not because I'm on a diet that I can't look at the buffet. And what an amazing buffet it is. His body looked sculpted by the gods. He's tanned, obviously, as he's Latino. Actually, he was tanned all over. His chest was wide. His abdomen was ripped like he never missed a day at the gym in his whole life. And that ass. Damn. Boy, there's a lot of junk inside that trunk. Excuse the dated reference. I'm not going to comment on the front part as I'm not a size queen. But let's just say it fit the bill for a guy his size. I mean, he's at least 6 foot tall. I nearly drooled. Actually, scratch that. I nearly had an accident at the locker room. That's the last thing I need. For the boys to think I'm attracted to any of them. But still, I said not a word to him. And neither did he. All week. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We just passed each other by. He was always smiling at me and I never gave him anything. Until I couldn't anymore. I mean, try as I may. I couldn't shake that Saturday conversation out of my mind. And I really tried. I did. But I just couldn't. I had to talk to him, at least to try to make sense of it all. Friday, I marched to his table at lunch, stopped by his side and asked him point blank, "Are you gay?" He spat his food. His friends and family all looked at me in shock, but I didn't care. Not that I'm aware of. He answered, after he took a sip of his juice, "Are you sure?" Not even a little. Or bi. Maybe pan. I insisted. Pacing. No, I'm positive. I'm first rate. It was very disappointing to my dad's. He replied, looking serious. I held back a giggle. Then why me? I questioned him, looking mad. I don't know. I just like you. I guess. He replied, sounding sincere. I mean, are you sure? You do know on. I trailed off for a second. I'm well aware. Yes, Sam. He spoke with a cheeky smile. Then you know I don't have. I wanted to say but couldn't bring myself to. Yes, I know. But that's not what's important. I like you for you. As an individual. As the strong, confident woman that you present yourself. It's not the genital that makes a woman. You are a woman. Your body just hasn't caught up to it yet. He stated with conviction and I melted. I confess I did not see that response coming. Not from a mile. Not from an airplane away. I was a pudding after that. I had to resist the urge to kiss him as I'm not that girl. Fine. You can take me on a date. Tomorrow. At the dinner. At 7 p. Ugh, if you're late, I'll walk away. I said it and left in a hurry. Fuck. I admit I only came to his table to put my mind at ease. I expected him to give me a redneck. Ignorant or maybe even a preachy woke response. Sometimes people just say what they think you want to hear. But I didn't expect that. That was the best damn reply he could have given me. He didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't shy away from it. He acknowledged it and faced forward. I'm in so much trouble now. This is not the type of 17-year-old boy I expected to find in Rutherford Falls. Population 10,000. Not in the least. I should have known that boy was trouble when he already knew my name. Now I have a date with him, and honestly, I've no idea how's that going to be. I was crushed. When she passed me by on Monday, I wanted to chase after her and say sorry. But I couldn't. Daddy was right. She had to come to me. In this situation, whatever I say to her unsolicited would only make it worse. But I was hurt. Not gonna lie. At lunch, I saw her seating away. As expected, I told everyone not to bother her unless otherwise you hear from her. I don't need my pack talking me up either. It's too on the nose. Tuesday, the same thing. I smiled at her, but nothing. I even expected that maybe she'd say something at lunch. But still, when we were in the locker room, I could feel her eyes on me. Any human couldn't. I'm a werewolf. I have to always be aware of my surroundings, so we have great instincts. And I felt her gaze on my entire body that day. And I mean my whole body. Of course, I played it cool like I wasn't noticing. I didn't want her to feel self-conscious, but I noticed it all right. And yes, I was flattered. I always am when a girl notices me. I may be a virgin, but I've been around. I've done stuff. Plus, I could smell her stench of desire even with the place full of boys. And that's saying something. Wednesday, I was talking to my friends and family during lunch. She still haven't talked to you. Georgia asked me as we ate. No, it's driving me crazy. I replied, more anxious than a child on Christmas Eve. Just don't talk to her. I mean it. I will take you down if I see you walking at her direction. Rosalind threatened me, looking serious. I know. I won't. I know she has to come to me. I'm not stupid. If anything, Daddy knows what he's talking about. He is a human after all. I croaked. I'm sorry. Cousin, I feel for you. When I couldn't see Rosalind, I went crazy too. John spoke in an empathetic tone. Not the same, bro. She isn't your. I spoke and Rosalind pinched me. I winced. He knows it. Next time will be a punch. Rosalind threatened, looking me dead in the eyes. John looked down. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. We know. Anyway, the bell is about to ring. Let's go. Rosalind stated. She's such an alpha. Don't tell her I've said that. Thursday. I was already expecting nothing from her. As I'm playing the long game, I had time to wait. Thankfully, this is only September, and I don't ascend till April. But the worst part was telling about it to my dads. They were so excited for me. I just didn't want to disappoint them. But they understood it's a long game. Friday. I practically put it out of my mind. I mean, I still smiled at her in the corridor. But I know she didn't want to talk to me. And I got it. Even in the classes we had together, she still didn't look at me. It was heartbreaking, but I endured, which is why I was shocked when she came to our table at lunch. After our talk, Sam announced our date and left. I was gobsmacked. I was floored. I did not see it coming. Not this early anyway. Who are you? Where did you get that speech from? Rosalind snickered. They all gasped. I don't know. I just said what I felt. It's from the heart. I replied, sincerely, but also shocked at myself I said that. Bro, that was epic. Way to go. I'm in awe. Paul complimented me. He looked gobsmacked. It made me see you in a different light. Congratulations. Sarah told me. She was looking at me with hearts on her eyes. So is Georgia. Thanks. Sarah. Thanks, bro. I don't know what came over me, but I'm glad it did. I have a date tomorrow with my mate. I replied. Honestly, my smile was from ear to ear. I basically floated to my classes and back to the house. I was on cloud nine. You should have seen your son. He was quick with the responses. She had all this doubts about him. She asked him if he was gay or bi. But then she asked him why her, and he gave this epic response about how genitals don't make a woman and she's a strong girl. Max Spidey, my sated mate. Lights splashed around me and my wounds spun with the beat of the heavy techno music the DJ was playing. It was so good, so epic. She had no choice but to take him on a date. It was fantastic. Rosalind was telling dads about my talk with Sam. I should be the one to tell them that this is the most proud I've ever seen my sister feel about me. Ever. Dads were just floored as they listened to the entire story. So was everybody else. As you probably know by now, all our meals in the pack house are shared with 50 people between family and pack members. And that's not counting when the Underwoods are here. Congratulations. Son, I'm so proud of you. Dad was beaming with joy. I smiled wide. I told you, didn't I? Let her come to you. Daddy smirked. He was right. Not that I had any doubt. Honestly, I don't know what came over me. As she asked me those questions, all I could do is to be honest about it. But that last speech, I was possessed. But I meant every word I said. I stated. I was radiating happiness. I have never been so proud of you in my entire life. Rosalind melted. I nearly cried at her words. I was so emotional. Thank you, sister, I replied, looking at her with glistening eyes. Just don't tell her you love her tomorrow. Okay? Hold it in. Rosalind snickered. I won't. I hope. I joked. All I cared about is that my mate asked me on a date and I had a chance with her. Considering where I was to where I am now, I was beaming. I had a date with the most beautiful girl in the world. That's all I cared about. And nothing else matters. Chapter 29, Secrets Them to say I am nervous. It's an understatement. I have showered and already changed my outfit like 3 times. I was sweating so much I felt like I was on the verge of needing another shower. Daddy stopped by to help me pick out an outfit cause let's be honest, he had the taste in the family. Not that Dad looked bad. But then again, Daddy probably shopped for him as well. After much internal debate, I settled for a classic outfit as I can't seem to be trying too much. We're meeting at a local dinner, not the Oscars red carpet. I leave with half an hour in advance, as the dinner was no more than 10 minutes away and it's not like we had any traffic in Rutherford Falls. I arrive at the dinner first and order a juice to get me started as I wait for her. She arrives 10 minutes early like I thought she wouldn't, is surprised that I was already waiting for her. I-E-N-M. You arrived early. That's a good start. She smirked as we greeted each other with a kiss on the cheek. Hi, Sam. I did, yes. I don't like to keep people waiting for me. I replied as we took our seats. I asked her what should we order and she said we could start with a drink and go from there. Since I had already ordered a juice, I asked what she wanted and ordered another one for her. So tell me, how is the city treating you? You know, apart from the rednecks at school. I started, sheepishly. Well, you know, apart from that, it's not actually that bad. I mean, people tend to be friendly in the country, isn't it? She asked me with a smile. Yes, they do, for the most part. And we are the baking kind, so expect a pie at your door at any time. I smirked. She laughed at my words. So, what do your parents work on for a living? She asked, looking right at me. Well, my dad is a property manager. He manages this massive condominium of houses in a private area on the far side of the city. I replied, oh yes. I think my dad said something about it. It is a massive wall protecting it. It's a huge land, is it not? She wondered. It is. We have about 2 people living inside, mostly families. And yes, we have a huge wall circumventing the entire property. It's very well guarded. I told her, sounding serious. Why, what's the danger people expecting around here? She questioned, looking at me quizzically. It's not that we expect any danger, But my dad also runs a nonprofit that protects and monitors wildlife of the town. So we bring animals to treat or check all the time. So it's mostly for their safety. Or so they don't escape our land and go to town or something. I replied, deep in thought. How cool. Busy guy your dad, and what does the other one do? She croaked. He is busy. Daddy manages our main house. We have several guests that stay in our house, so he keeps it afloat. It's a massive place. I'll take you over there one day. If you're up to. I blurted. She giggled. Why did you laugh? I was intrigued. You said daddy. She replied with a smile. Yes, as you know, I was raised by two dads. So they taught us early on that one was dad and the other was daddy. I croaked, blushing hard. That's so adorable. But hey, do you have strangers living in your house? She questioned, frowning in confusion. They are not total strangers. My aunt and her family lives there. So does my uncle's family. But yeah, we do have like 30 people living in the house that are not family. But most of them are staff of the property who aren't married yet. I elaborated. You know, when you're old enough to live outside your home but not so much that you want to rent a house for yourself alone. So they rent rooms at the house. They're good people. I explained. I mean, there's nothing I could do but to tell her the truth. How cool. Can I rent a room over there too? She joked. You don't need to. You can stay in mine. The words escaped my mouth. I regretted them instantly. She gasped. She looked spooked at my declaration. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I meant in a platonic way. I tried to backtrack it. But she didn't believe me. Right. She said it and took a drink of her juice. So do I. My throat so dry all of the sudden. So, why do you like me, or so you claim? She asked me after a while. I do like you. It's the truth. I told her with conviction. Why she insisted. I like your smile. It's the most beautiful smile in the world. I like how you talk. I like how confident you are. How you don't take crap from anyone. I like how you present and carry yourself with pride like the beautiful girl that you are. I blurted. She widened her eyes. She takes another drink of her juice. As do I. Should we order? She asked me, looking at the menu. Of course. I replied with a smile. We decide on the vegetarian option, and yes, you're right. I've never eaten vegetarian in my life. I'm a carnivore. If it ain't bleeding, I ain't eating. While we waited for the meal, I decided to keep the conversation going. So, I know your dad is the new police chief. But what does your mom do? I asked her. Oh, my mom is a doctor. A surgeon. She replied and I gasped. Oh my goddess. That's exactly. Did you just say goddess? She interrupted me, looking confused. I did. Yes, it's a family thing. You know, God is a woman. I croaked, so embarrassed. She laughed at this. It's true. We have a patron goddess that protects our family. I said, looking humble. You have your own personal goddess. She questioned me, still confused. Not just mine. You know, she protects a lot of people. I explained as best as I could. What's her name? She asked me, quizzically. Selene, otherwise known as the moon goddess. I replied. Cool. Never heard of her. She spoke, nonchalant. Most people haven't. It's okay. I know it's superstition, but we like to think we're protected. I croaked, so embarrassed. I think it's cute that you have your personal protector. She spoke, looking serious. Thank you. We throw a party in her honor every month. I hope I can take you to it one day. If you want, I said, smiling. The food arrives. We start eating and I try to look like I'm enjoying a meatless meal. I have to confess something. I wasn't expecting that response from you yesterday. She told me after a few bites. Me neither. I snickered, but I spoke from the heart. I continued as we ate. She looks at me funny. She takes a moment and then, you know, I find this so strange. She admitted. Why? I asked her, curiously. Guys who look like you typically don't go for girls who look like me. She spoke, humbly, but you look fantastic. I told her, smiling. She takes another moment and then see. That's exactly my point. This is too good to be truth. Why does a hot, straight, single guy like you, who can have any girl he wants, claim to like me who you've known for a week? She inquired. Suspiciously. I looked at her with affection. I understand your point. I do. But some people are just destined to meet. And I think I'm destined to be with you, I stated. She looked even more confused at me. Are you sure you're not a serial killer or something? I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. She croaked. I laughed out loud. I'm pretty sure I'm not a serial killer. But the other shoe I only drop at the second date. I teased her. So you're telling me there is something? 'Cause this is so weird to me. She admitted with a deep frown. If you're asking me am I perfect? No, not by a long shot. I'm just a regular guy in front of a spectacular girl, asking for a chance. I flirted. Playfully. She laughed mildly. Good one, she said, smiling. I mean it. That's Spidey, my fated mate. Lights flashed around me and my wheels spun with the beat of the heavy techno music the DJ was playing. I only ask for a chance. And in case you're suspicious, there's a secret that haunts my family, but this I only tell on the second date. I snickered. I could tell I had to give her something. This was just too perfect for her to believe. She laughed. Way to get a girl intrigued. You're crafty. She smirked. I try. I can't tell all my secrets at once. Where's the mystery in that? I teased her. You're right. But you haven't told me any secrets yet. She rebuked. Didn't I? How about this? My dad met my daddy at the same school we're in. And when he met my daddy, his father was the chief of police and his mother was a doctor. A surgeon. Just like. I told her. She looks frightened. Serendipitous. Right. Yeah. Max Brady. My fated mate. Lights flashed around me and my wheels spun with the beat of the heavy techno music the DJ was playing. She replied, looking spooked. Can I interest you in a walk now? I asked her. Once we finished eating. Sure. Let me go to the restroom. And I'll be right back. She told me and I went to pay for our meal. I was a gentleman. After all, we walked for a good while and talked some more. You know, I was so jealous you already saw the falls with my sister and cousin. I wanted to show you around. I confessed. I see. So you want my dad to hire a chaperone too? She snickered. I laughed. No, I promise it's not for the reasons you think. I'm a gentleman. I just meant because it's such a special place. I wanted to be the one to show you around. I admitted. You can take me there for our second date. She spoke and made my day. Really? Is there going to be a second date? I croaked, grinning widely. Well, of course. I need to know about the secret you're keeping. She teased me. Right. And you can't hardly wait. It's a doozy. I smirked, batting my eyes at her. But you're sure you are not a mass murderer or a serial killer? She joked. I think. I'm sure. I swear. The only person I want to murder is my sister. I snickered. She looked at me weirdly. I'm joking. I spoke with my eyebrows shot up. I know. I have a sister too. She laughed. You scared me for a second. No, I love my sister. Just don't tell her that. I smirked. It's our secret. She laughed. The first of many. I hope. I flirted. Who knows? She deflected. I had the best time talking to her. I haven't been a lot of dates, but this one is probably the best yet. Soon, we walked back to the diner. Her dad was picking her up over there. I offered to wait, but she said there's no need. He was just around the corner. So I go back to my car and drive home. I had the best time of my life talking to her. I could hardly wait for our second date. I take her to the falls and tell her my secret. Let's just hope she doesn't run away after she finds out. Fingers crossed. Chapter 30 alone. Rosal and we had a quiet Saturday. Me and John. As we couldn't leave the pack alone, I tended to stay home these days with him. Apart from our walks inside the compound. Is this okay for you? I mean, You're allowed to want more other things. I told him as we were with our arms around each other on the couch. He looked at me for a minute. I mean, I was wondering if you wanted to get out. See places. I don't know. I elaborated. Got it. No, I'm good this way. I'm not that much of a party boy. He smirked. You don't say. I laughed out loud. Yeah, I'm good just hanging out with you. Plus, it's not like we could leave this place alone. Right. He pondered. Right. Yes, you're correct. I agreed. Pensive. Speaking of alone, I was wondering something. Remember that thing that we did at your place the second time? I asked, sounding mysterious. It took him a second to put it all together. And in case you don't remember, reread the chapter entitled Physical. I do. Yeah. That was wonderful. He smirked. I thought so too. Remember the first part before? I trailed off. I do remember it very vividly. He said it with a cheeky smile. Did you like doing that to me? I asked him as tried not to blush, but failed miserably. I liked it very much. Why, he asked. Puzzled. I liked it too. I was just wondering. Would you like to do that again? I mean the first thing. I asked him, not a-ly. I would very much like to. But where? He looked at me intrigued. Let's go for a walk. I suggested and pulled us from the couch. We got out of the house together and started walking. Last Saturday, when we were at the back of the pack house. Remember? I whispered to his ear. I remember. He whispered back. So, I was going off that and found a small room that was used as a living-maid bedroom, but hasn't been used anymore for decades. It doesn't have enough space for us to have sex. But if you're down for oral, I suggested it. Deeply blushing. I am. Let's go, he eagerly said. Okay, calm down. Let's just calmly circulate and go around the house. I proposed. We walked around for a while and went to the back of the pack house. As it's Saturday afternoon, there is barely any staff present. Basically, only the cooks. I found the old dusty room and do my best to block out the scents. We entered it and closed the door. It didn't lock, but no one came in here anyway. Are you sure you're okay with it? I mean, we can't. I double-checked. I'm positive. Don't worry. I know. He told me confidently, so I take off the bottom part of my clothes and let him go to town. And he was so good at it for a teenager. Damn boy. I miss this. It's been more than a month since our last adventure, so I craved a little something. He goes into the licking action for quite some time till I get to my destination. I shook my legs so much I thought I was gonna fall. Oh, the room didn't have a bed in it. Just some old junk. I just leaned in the wall for support. After that ended, I got dressed and asked him if he liked it. He said yes. Then, I asked him if he wanted me to do the same for him. The boy dropped his pants so fast you'd think he was a pro. I returned the favor. I mean, I didn't want him to finish inside me or anything, but I was happy I could be of service. I'm all about equal rights. So, when he was nearly there, he finished himself off on the wall. When I asked him if he liked it, he kissed me. He was very pleased. And so was I. After that, we washed our hands on a bathroom nearby and cleaned his mess from the wall. We circumvented the house again and continued walking some more. Was it good for you? He asked me as we walked on. It was? Thanks. I take it you liked it. I questioned, already knowing the answer. Yes, I loved it. He rushed to say. That was so good I could barely keep it from. I know, but I'm glad you liked it. See? Who says teenagers aren't resourceful? I snickered. I know. Right. He croaked. I love you so much. And I don't mean that just because. I know. But that certainly helped. I smirked. I already loved you before. But yes. Got us, yes. He said excitedly. He was smiling from ear to ear. Just don't get any ideas. This is not going to happen all the time. It's just. I know. And I never presume. I just hope for the best. He snickered. Good. You were well raised. Underwood. I complimented him. He was very well-mannered. After that whole debacle when I first shifted, My mom gave me a very comprehensive lecture. Max Brady, my fated mate. Lights flashed around me and my really spun with the beat of the heavy techno music the DJ was playing. You have no idea, he told me, sounding astonished. He was wide-eyed. I believe you. Your mom is awesome. And that was a terrible assumption. I replied in a serious tone. It was. On an unrelated note, I know I'm supposed to be happy with my mate whoever she is. But I don't know how anyone is gonna make me any more happy than you do, he observed, looking deeply in my eyes. I love you too. John. I kissed him. And he was right. I felt exactly the same. We walked back to the pack house to prepare for dinner. I brushed my teeth and washed my face intensely. I instructed him to do the same. When all of us were leaving the dining hall after dinner, EM showed up with the biggest grin. I take it the date went well. Dad spoke first as we all walked to the living room. It was wonderful. She is awesome. Just like I expected it. He told us, excitedly. Did you kiss her? John asked him. No, John. Are you crazy? You don't kiss on the first date. I already dreamed she nearly slapped me when I asked her for it. He spat at him. How was she? Daddy asked. She was suspicious. I mean, she said she didn't understand why a guy like me would be interested in a girl like her, which is fair. You know, he spoke, concerned. Why a guy like you? Dad asked. Puzzled. Uncle, I think she meant someone as handsome as he is. John remarked. To all of our surprise. Thanks. John, you are not so bad yourself. And you're right, he replied, grinning. So I just told her I like her for her and enumerated her qualities till she shut up. He bragged. Well, way to go, I said to him. He smiled widely. Thanks. Anyway, after we ate, we walked for a bit. Then her dad picked her up. But I didn't see him. She made me leave first. He continued in a somber tone. Good. And do you think? Dad asked but got interrupted. We already set another date. For the falls. He eagerly announced it. Wow, good for you. I am Eddie told him. He looked impressed. So was I. Thanks, Daddy. And get this, her mom is a doctor just like yours. He told him and we gasped. Shut up. That's so. Daddy was gobsmacked. Serendipitous. Right. He sounded so excited. He couldn't stop smiling. It was infectious. I'm happy for you. Brother. I really am. I hope she makes for a good Luna. Though not as good as Daddy. I sucked up. He smiled at this. That's because you weren't born when your bullet was Luna. She was fantastic. I pale in comparison. Daddy admitted. And of her. She really is a great woman. My grandma. Both of my grandmothers are. That's true. She was. Dad spoke in admiration of her. Daniel Huntington. You're supposed to say I am the best Luna this pack has ever had. Regardless, I'm gonna crack the whip tonight. Daddy threatened him. EWL gross. Daddy. I grimaced. Dad's laughed. I didn't mean it literally. What do you take me for? He snickered. I don't know how old people keep the marriage alive. I croaked. Who you're calling old? I'm 37. Okay, John, you can go home now. Rosalind is grounded till tomorrow. Daddy stated. Pissed off at me. Daddy, stop. I wind. That's okay, Uncle. I was just about to leave anyway. It's getting late, and I'll be here tomorrow morning. John spoke, diddling our dialogue. We kissed goodbye and he left. I smiled. Maybe not as widely as Emmett, but I've definitely seen much more action than him tonight. Small blessings. Am I right? Thank you all for joining me in the wild world of Wild Werewolf. I hope you had an amazing time. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave your comments and likes, and come back for more wild adventures. See you next time.